Greetings Rummies and welcome to Rum, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and today I am not alone, of course. We are commenting the newest race of the ASRC, and with me is somebody who must be very lost because he's a Brit and we are in southern Germany. Eike, how are you?
I was going to say, where are we and why are all of the names very angry at me all of a sudden?
So, we are at the Norisring. The Norisring is in southern Germany at Nuremberg and is the only city track that is used for racing in Germany, actually. Like, there have been others during the history of German motorsports, but Norisring is the only one that is still nowadays active.
And a challenging circuit it is. It looks very simple on a track map, and if you look at the elevation changes, you would go, well, what's the challenge here? But the simplicity of the layout is where the challenge comes from. Grundy corner at the left-hand hairpin, right at the bottom of that very long straight that is going to cause lots of slipstreaming that we're now watching Eberzander circulate. It leads up to turns 4 and 5 at the Scholler S. Am I pronouncing that right?
It's Scholler, but yeah,
Scholler.
I realize
Yes.
that those are a little bit more difficult to say.
Scholler. Yes, it's the English in me getting the better of me, but a very tight complex, going to be a lot about braking maneuvers into there, and then up another very long straight where drafting is going to be vital, as well as the exit off of turn 5 up to turn 7 at the top of the track, and then the kink at turn 8 where I was brutally murdered in a DTM car a few years ago. In sim, of course.
I suppose it was not in a real-life DTM car because those cost a pretty penny.
Believe me, if the tap and resultant crash that happened there had been in real life, it would have been newsworthy for sure.
Jeremy saying, funny enough, the track layout almost looks like a knife. Yeah, it does. It does. And it drives like a knife too, so to speak, because you have to be very sharp driving here. You have to keep awake and alive all times. We were discussing, and we can continue discussing while the drivers from the ASRC are qualifying. You don't like this track very much, and for me, on the other hand, is one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah, it doesn't grab me like other street circuits have the potential to. I much prefer, if I'm going to have a street circuit, give it an undulation, give it some character. This is not the best way to go racing, in my honest opinion. But if it works, it works. And knowing German bureaucracy is the wrong word. Their safety standards, let's say, I would be very shocked if the reason why Norisring remains the only street circuit is because this is the only one they could get signed off.
And it has a long history. It started end of the 1930s, so it's soon gonna be enjoying its 100th birthday. So it's got a very, very long tradition of existing and being raced upon.
Petition to ADAC, can you please try and get together some DTM cars through the years to circulate on the centenary of Norisring?
That would be great.
Wouldn't that be a spectacle?
I'm pretty sure that they are thinking about it, and of course all companies that have done DTM do keep the cars. You can, for example, in the BMW museum, you can see some of the DTM cars that they've had. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, let's start that petition.
Slightly different tonight, though, is we have the French Super Minis of the Renault Clio Cup, the Russell Cup, as it's known for ASRC, and the timing screens are looking quite alive. I said about the simplicity of the circuit making for good racing earlier on in the session, and the times are showing true to that at the moment. My goodness, all within top 10, almost within half a second, almost within 3/4 of a second, is going to be an interesting race. Wreck at the top of the timing screens is going to find it very difficult to pull away from Alexander as Silvestre almost gets the wall. That was as close as you would ever want to be.
Well, that wall is infamous. Like really infamous for eating up right-hand rear view mirrors. Like there even was a joke video made by the old DTM, the Class 1 DTM, where the drivers were all lining up at a company that sold car parts and buying rear view mirrors wholesale because the Norisring race was up and upon. So yeah, funny one. You saw them all, and of course some were better actors than others, but in any case they were all very, very happy to do a silly video like that.
Oh, absolutely. And it's always good when you see race teams are game like that. It does make a lot of difference when teams look at the lighter side and appreciate how much is actually how much of their job is a show, basically, rather than like trying to be the fastest you can be. No, we are putting on a show here, as are all these drivers. And another fantastic race we had last week, or 3 races in fact, out at Silverstone, where I think they absolutely got the memo as far as what was required in this Russell Cup. Drivers absolutely putting on a show last week, and hopefully this track is going to help even more.
Yeah, that reminds me, it would be a good idea if we explain for those who may come new into these races, if we explain a little bit how these races are. We're gonna see 3 races today. 2 fast sprint races, 5 laps each, and 1 25-minute race. The results of the qualifying are going to be taken, and boom, rack goes into the wall, and are going to be taken on a reverse grid from places 1 to 10. So the 10th in qualifying is going to be the first for the first race, for the first 5-lap race. Then the results of the first sprint race are going to be again reversed. So the 10th through the start and end line is going to be the first in the second sprint race. And then we come to the long race, the 25-minute race, and there the drivers will line up on the grid in the way that they arrived in qualifying. So the first in qualifying is going to be the first on the 25-minute race, and the points for the 25-minute race are, if I remember correctly, even quite more than even if you would arrive twice first in the sprint races.
Yes, so the sprint races have points going down to 6th position, starting at 7th, 7 points going all the way down to 1 for 6th. But the feature race actually has points going all the way down to 15th position, starting from 25. So even if you take home both of the sprint race victories, you're still going to need to try and find pace as the checkered flag flies. You're still going to need to find pace for the sorry the joys of sim racing. You get banned for doing that in a real pit lane.
Yep.
Yes, so it's 7 points down to 1, 25 down to 1 for the feature race. So even if you won both of the sprint races, the feature race is still more points. So this qualifying session is setting the most important grid that we will have this evening. Not the most interesting, but for sure, as far as the points are concerned, the most interesting. Serta, do you have the championship standings at the moment?
I have. Let me check. Driver. There we go. So we have Marc Carol, the Spanish sim racer and real life racer, at first. Gaspar Mrak, who we've been following the last minutes, at second. Ricky Jimenez on third. Elliot Simpson on fourth. And Nicolas Poletti on fifth. Marc Carol moved up to first. Ricky Jimenez also moved. No, Ricky Jimenez is the only one who hasn't had any movement. He was third and stayed third after last week's race. And we still have some races to go and some race weekends to go, so to speak. So these can change, but the names that we have here are names that we've been talking about from the first race on.
And very mercifully there, we can also see the positions. So you can see the points very, very different from the sprint race to the feature race. And something that will be playing into the drivers' minds, I think, tonight with how they're qualifying. Good evening to Marty Mestermaker. I know I pronounced that very wrong. I'm very sorry. Also, hi, Jeremy. Good to see you in chat. If you do have any points arising, there are two of us on the mics tonight, so it's significantly less likely that we're going to miss anything on track. But even if we do, you can always shoot us a message in YouTube chat. We are here and watching, and we do generally keep an eye on the YouTube comments after the live stream as well. So the drivers, if we got it wrong, tell us in a nice way, please.
Marty, by the way, the tire fell on the car of a lady who we hope that on the car, not on a lady, on her car, and luckily nobody was hurt. The car may be totaled, but I'm pretty sure that she's gonna be helped. The car had to be towed out, and I would really hope that Penske is gonna be helping that lady out, not only with repairing the car, but also, I don't know, tickets for next year's Indy 500 or something like that. But yeah, luckily nobody got hurt.
That's the most important thing. Question: what car did she have? Because I have a feeling that
it was
is it an American one?
It's an American one, and it's which motors do Penske drive on IndyCar?
In IndyCar, I think they're Toyota. I'm not familiar with that. All that familiar with.
I would have to look it up. I would have to look it up. Give me a
second.
But I think it was at least it was one of the companies that deliver motors for IndyCar. With any luck, she's getting... I hope she gets the tire. I would like to keep the tire that totaled my car.
Chevrolet.
Yeah, but exactly. I think it was a Chevrolet that she was driving. So
Penske also run Porsches in IMSA.
Sure, why not? Penske run everything. They're a big motorsport company.
The question for chat is, would you rather have a Chevrolet or a Porsche?
Chevrolet. I'd rather have an IndyCar with a Chevrolet motor than any kind of Porsche.
That's fair. I think you and I may be slightly biased as far as that's concerned, though. We have a slightly different desire. What was that clatter? Oh,
Somebody took the curb too strongly. I hope we don't see that very often, but hey, it can happen.
So we did see in practice, or I saw in practice, one of the cars did actually suffer a rollover at that hairpin. So it's something that we're going to need to keep an eye on in these sessions. Porks until it comes to repair cost. It'll be covered by warranty. It'll be fine. I'm sure.
I suppose repairing a Chevy in Europe is gonna cost you a pretty penny.
Well, you say that, but the Chevrolets in Europe aren't truly Chevrolets, are they? They are
Opels or what?
Opels, and no, they are Daewoo's, aren't they? You see, now you're asking the question. I believe they are discount Vauxhalls, but they are not the kind of Chevrolets that they have in America. So they may well be easy to repair over here.
Don't know. Never owned one.
I wouldn't.
Never owned a Porsche either, but that's a different.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a very different issue.
I mean, it's always funny when I have people visiting here in Germany because, of course, they see the streets full of Porsches, Mercedes, Beamers,
yep.
And they're like, "Oh my God, you're so rich!" Well, yeah,
yep.
These cars are cost much less in Germany than they cost, I don't know, in the States or something like that.
Anywhere else, you don't need to export them, so they're just there. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that one man's trash is another man's treasure, and all of that. We just need to. I mean, as you said, trying to repair a Chevrolet, trying to repair an American car in the UK is a nightmare. I have a friend who is very into his more problems at the hairpin for Papadopoulos. I was racing with Mr. Papadopoulos at the weekend. I believe he was in a GT3 car. I was running the Oreca LMP2 around Hockenheimring. Wonderful, wonderful circuit.
Oh, yeah. Good night, Hero at Twitch.
Hello. And the checkered flag is out, which means
we're gonna go racing.
Which means that we all need to take a very, very deep breath.
Yeah, because 5 rounds about Norisring are 5 minutes. It's gonna be like blink it and you'll miss it.
It's going. I already have a camera down at the hairpin.
Yes.
Ready and waiting. Yeah, we are working on getting some multiple cameras going for you ladies and gents. These things take time, and we want to make sure that it is every bit as exhilarating as it should be for everyone watching. But maybe soon we will be able to have multiple cameras, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm seeing as well. Which again, going to be terrifying.
At the moment, you're not seeing much because the server is still on warm-up, but I suppose it's going to go racing soon.
It won't be long until we get the lovely announcement that I have since muted, because that's a thing you can do. And we'll be counting down to the start of the reverse of the qualifying session that we just saw.
We know it's a little bit complex. We know it's not easy, but it makes for very intense racing.
Well, it's good. It's always good. I've always been a fan of reverse grid racing because it brings good value to people watching. It brings good value to the drivers as well. Just because you aren't the fastest doesn't mean that you can't defend. So, and just because you can defend doesn't mean you can overtake. So the two reverse grid races that we have to start as essentially a warm-up to get an understanding of where everyone's going to be. And there it is. We await the start of the first round with Mick Leportre leading the pack away in just a minute, because we will have a nice warm-up lap as well, and because, let's be honest, you're going to need it, aren't you?
You're going to need that and a lot of thinking and being careful with throttle and brakes already at the first hairpin, which during its time has seen more than enough accidents. Like I remember an accident on DTM where, who was it? I don't know. One of the drivers went into the other, and with so much force, because he hit just a pothole, so to speak, with so much force that it broke his foot. So on the next race, the guy Rockenfeller was driving with his foot in a cast. They only need the foot for starting the race. Yep. So and they don't use any clutch during the race, as they have semi-automatic gear changes. But yeah, knowing race drivers and knowing what they're like, he probably went faster with his foot in a cast. Because you have that separation when you left foot brake, you have you can get quite a bit of crossover with your pedal inputs. If you've only got one foot, it's not going to be an issue. Yeah.
I have known people who have gone faster when they have a foot off the pedal, basically. Obviously, I've also known people to go slower, but racing drivers, man, they're a different breed.
Yeah, I'm a 2-foot driver. Even when driving automatic, people always look like, you're using both feet. Me, yeah, I'm braking with the left one and throttling with the right one. Why?
You brake?
Well, yes.
I have a sequential automatic. I just change down the gears and engine brake like normal.
Ah, okay. No, I can't do that with my EV.
Oh yeah, no, of course. Oh,
I mean, you have the so to speak, the engine braking, because the recuperation,
regenerating,
but it's something different.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's a very different experience. But speaking of a different experience, lining up in the grid for the first race of this evening, and it is, it looks so good, doesn't it? That's one of the things, as Marty's in chat saying, hope that rFactor 2 gets bought and is able to thrive. Absolutely. I mean, you can make you can have arguments about whether the game's good or not, but this kind of immersion, you just can't get anywhere else.
And there we go.
That was
Green.
Very quick hold. And as they come down towards the first turn, we are already 4 and 5 across the track. The Portrait has got a good enough start to get into the first corner first, but around the outside,
braking is always difficult. No, they make it quite well. Yes, they survive quite well.
Everyone's cleanly through the first time Vasking, but that was never an issue with these ASRC drivers. It was always about the second and the third laps, and there's already been contact.
Yeah,
Who is that we have just seen?
The wrong way
25
around.
car. 25 car, I think, of... Oh no, even more action at the final hairpin. We're watching the leaders come across the line for the first time of 5. Lepatre in the lead, McAllister second, Carroll third, Paletti fourth, Gantar fifth, as quick as you can say them.
Paparinopoulos had to DNF. I suppose he was the one who was turning
There
around.
was... is that... I'm trying to scroll, it won't let me scroll.
No! Mark Carroll gets turned
Oh no!
around. Some argy-bargy there, as was to be expected from that first hairpin. Oof.
Yep.
And more issues before the Schiller S.
Paletti is out of the running now. And a DNF for Paletti as well. It's not worth... It's always worth running in these races, because we've already had 2 DNFs. Like, big stop, big outbraking maneuver there behind the 89 car of Mrak. That's Abizander and Silvestre going at it. Yep, Silvestre up behind Abizander. Abizander getting the braking wrong and has got the overspeed. That's a big contact into the wall. Orange car into the wall at the back of the field. Who is that has... That's the other thing with this track, is that everything is
happening
on top
everywhere.
of it. Everything's on top of everything, so you can see what's happening, and that was Sparks off the inside as well. Give me a second. It is Sancho, I think, or who's got no turning. Yep, 58 car. Got it wrong on the start-finish straight, which was shocking.
Best trying to get the better of Abizander yet. They're gonna be duking it out. 3 laps out of 5 already.
I wish you could see what I just saw. Oh my goodness.
On the first hairpin?
No, on the start-finish straight. So it was Sancho and a yellow car. Sancho gets squeezed towards the wall by the yellow car. The yellow car loses a wheel.
Oops.
Yep. Just a second. What is the number of that car? The number 2.
Oh, and Abizander and Silvestre are at it, like hard at it.
Oh, are they getting together?
Yep. Silvestre losing a little bit of control and getting into Abizander and vice versa and whatnot. So that's why I'm inside of Abizander's car, as we have the better view of this battle.
On to the final lap they come then. Or has the leader just gone past? Yep, on to the final lap they come. That's how quick these races are going to be, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
And one more opportunity for Abizander to take home more points.
McAllister went almost sideways there. Eesh.
Having the brake bias right towards the back of the car, that's my kind of guy. Oh. Bouncing on the entry to 5 and 6. That's some brave setup work for Gantar there. Is this going to be the opportunity for Mrak? That's the problem with these front-wheel drive cars. You make the swerve out to the inside, that breaks your momentum. And that was the rest of the acceleration he was going to have. It'll be Lepatre across the line first for this reverse grid race. And then we will take all of this top 10 and reverse them.
Yeah. 3 DNFs, Stepanenko, Poletti, and Paparinopoulos. And lots of argy-bargy and lots of missing the point, and especially at the start of the race, the breaking point for this first hairpin is hell.
Yes, not the wonderful rallycross track in Norway, because that is far from hell. But yeah, so once again, Papadopoulos either calling it quits early in the race or having a technical issue. Hopefully he gets that fixed before we get to the second round of tonight. But all three of those drivers now going to have to start from the back of the grid.
Oh well. Doesn't mean much.
It could be points. Points make prizes, and the championship is so tight all the way down that 1 point can make a massive difference to a lot of these drivers.
Of course, I mean, any point that you leave on the track is something that you don't want to have, but
no, absolutely, and it's
we go to the warm-up for the second race. The warm-up is more of a technical nature because, of course, setting up the server in the right way is something that takes some time.
Takes time, yeah, absolutely. Well, when you remember that things like this take place over an entire weekend normally, we're doing qualifying and 3 races in the space of, I think it's an hour and a half?
Yeah, something like that, so...
I mean, for Norisring tonight, it's going to be like 2/3 of that. But nonetheless, it is a technical achievement that we are even able to run like this. Who is that stopped at the outside of the
that
the
was
pit lane?
Zenkov.
Zenkov having issues?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
He may just have taken a sip of vodka or...
I
know, I think he prefers whiskey, if I remember what he was commentating on Discord.
Either way, it's brave juice.
Exactly. And you need that at Norisring.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. All the brave fills
thank you, Marty,
get.
for the $2. Yes, room is, at least phase 1 of my video room is almost complete. Almost, I would say it's 92% complete. Today I just hung up a wonderful poster made in the style of the futurists in the 1920s with
nice.
a Bugatti on it.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And cabling, I've done a lot of cabling, and I just need a couple of things that have to finish. My workbench is still here because it arrived with 3 pieces that were broken, and the company is not being quite reactive, so if they are not reactive this week, it's gonna go back because I have a month to send things back. So you either send me the stuff that was broken, or I say, okay, I don't want to buy it.
Exactly. We need to hold these companies accountable.
Yep.
But no. So what's next? When's the room for Cody and me to lay over?
I don't
so
know,
we can
mate.
we can make content.
Oh well, Leo, I do have enough rooms here where you can spend the night. So
Awesome.
One of you sleeps in my racing rig and the other in the guest bed.
I'll take the racing rig.
I wouldn't.
It'll be more comfortable than mine.
Oh well,
mine
that
is,
could be.
Yeah, mine's pretty much built to keep me awake.
Oh, okay. You do a lot of endurance.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Weekend was 8 hours of Hockenheimring, and Sunday was 90 minutes of Donington Park in GT3s. So more than ready to fall asleep for that one.
Yeah. Hockenheimring for what was it? 8 hours? Whoa. Okay.
That's it. Yeah. We yeah, it was a fun race with the new generation of hypercars, prototypes, and GT3s, and we were in the LMP2s.
8 hours of that hairpin. Eesh.
believe it or not the worst part of the track.
And yeah, I suppose the Mercedes stand is also difficult.
No, the you know the Sector 3 stadium section.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the hypercars aren't fast enough to make clean passes through there.
Mm-hmm.
So they either have to sit behind you, or they have to barge you out of the way, basically. And they are the two options. Thankfully, our P2 was set up in such a way that it was very solid on its all fours. So if we made contact with a hypercar, the hypercar was the one that lost the argument.
Oosh. And went Vettel.
Oh, full Vettel. Yeah, I absolutely nailed a Toyota who thought that diving up the inside of me after the Vettel corner was a good idea. Oh, and
Boink.
That's the issue that we have at hairpins. Different lines coalescing, and it's all about leaving space. You've got to leave each other space here.
Yeah, but sometimes you think you're leaving space, you think you are in the right position, you think you're doing everything right, and still, hairpin.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is racing. This is absolutely racing, and I will always respect Clio Cup, and I will always respect Clios for the pure distillation of racing action that they bring.
Yeah.
Two cars out on track, and then we will go to the second round of the night.
Second sprint race.
Oh boy. Where the top 10 from the previous round are reversed. So this is where the tactics can come in. Who was sitting in 10th at the end of the last race? The one time that I don't take notice, it's going to be someone key as well. I can feel it.
I'm gonna tell you in a minute, as soon as they line up.
Oh no, I've got the dashboard open. I'm watching. It's just, as you say, waiting for it to come up.
All right, Kowalski.
Oh,
Zenkov, Carol, Lopez Garcia, Bizanda, Silvestre, Mrak, Cantar, McAllister, Lepoutre.
so Mark Carroll, who championship leader, let's not forget, and real world racing driver, did have a spin in that previous race, but he kept going, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he kept going, got himself back to 7th. Just outside of the points, but now in a prime location to take the win in this second race, and qualified very well for the feature race.
Never stop, never give up. Who knows what happens, and you end up in a good position.
Absolutely.
Hey,
never know us.
I remember a Zandvoort race where I was like 8th or 9 out of 10. And the places up front got into some chaos, and I ended up 3rd out of 4.
Yep.
But still.
Well, no, you weren't 3rd out of 4. You were 3rd out of 10 starters.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly.
It's another one of those things where driving on like low fuel motorsports and SimGrid and things like that, where you're driving against people you don't know, it really does become a test of defensive driving. And I absolutely believe that if you've done a defensive driving course, you have an unfair advantage on everybody else there. I'm still learning as the drivers roll off for their formation lap. I do love a good formation lap. And if I remember correctly, this is pretty much not policed by R Factor 2, isn't it? There isn't really a speed requirement.
Not that I know of, no. And as you can see, there is no safety car, so it's not holding any speed. On the other hand, you don't go full speed here because you don't need to, and you may mess up your race before it's even begun.
Well, this is where even though they're the same cars, drivers might want to warm their cars up in a different way. Some drivers, I mean, you can see the leaders already trying to get round to the head of the field to park up. Now, because of the nuance of these Clios, good evening, Hawk78. Because of the nuance of these Clios, they might be trying to get round to get those front tyres to cool down so that they can drop the pressure and get a better launch. Possibly. It could also be they're trying to get to the feature race.
On the other hand, you don't want your tires to be too cold at the beginning of the race because you have that horrendous hairpin.
Yeah, that's why. So what they would have been doing is going around the previous lap and pumping the brakes, pumping them along the straights, riding them, making sure that they've got that brake temperature. R Factor 2 is brutal for cold tires as we wait for the start lights.
And there we go. Green, green, green. Already.
It's a brilliant launch from the 22 car.
And Marc Carol already on the inside for the hairpin. That could be a good position. Yeah, good
as they all come together.
Good braking, but ooh, yes.
That's a lot less tidy this time, and someone has fallen to the back of the field yet again. Adrijazevic, I think.
And Carol already on first.
Carol already to the lead with the fastest sector. He's not messing about tonight.
But Kowalski saying, wait a minute, I want something to say about that. Zenkov. Ooh, Zenkov already almost getting into Carol, but braking in time. Loses second position to Kowalski.
That was fantastic drive as well for Kowalski. This could be the lead if Carol doesn't defend, but I mean, of all the drivers to come up against for the fight over the lead of the race, Carol is probably one of the ones that you want to come up against. There's a 25 car parked on the inside of turn 5 at the moment. Oh, as they all get into each other again at the hairpin.
Third. Carol
2 by 2.
Carol keeping the first position, but Kowalski's on the inside for the first curve of the Schöler S. Now Kowalski is on first. Oh, Kowalski and Carol get a little bit
too familiar, but these guys are slowing each other down now. Carol wisely jumps in behind the leading Clio and is going to try again up the inside, but good grief, it was almost forward going into the hairpin.
Zenkov braking just in time to not hit Carol. Man, there's a lot more going on this second race.
Oh my goodness, is there ever? As they come across the line now. Yeah, across the line now onto their third lap. Kowalski leads Carol. Carol hungry for that win. I do believe he has played some strategy there that has put him in that position. He wants to capitalize
in the places
here.
Behind there was some chaos. I think Poletti was turned around.
Sancho's had an issue. Where is Poletti? Let me see if I can find anything. Oh, hold on. Please hold caller. That is not a Poletti. Who is?
Zenkov defending his position from Silvestre. Silvestre going on the now inside. Carol doing the fastest lap of the race, and now going on the inside. Ooh, Kowalski did brake too late, and Carol goes on the first position. Oh. This is fourth lap out of 5. We only have something like 1.5 laps to see.
Couldn't find who the car was, unfortunately. Whoever it was. So Sancho is out on his own. It could be Mishra in the 72 car. He was definitely involved. But yeah, down the low end of the grid. Lots of trouble. But you can see where the incidents have come from as well. Oof. Does that go side by
trying
side?
to go on the inside, but nah, thinks better of it. Silvestre on the outside for the hairpin, which is not a good place. If Zenkov did brake a little bit too late, still keeps the position. Sheesh. Norisring being Norisring.
I'll say it's all very, very heated here. Battle over the final podium position. These positions obviously don't matter for the rest of the evening. It's going for broke. Sorry, it's going for broke for Silvestre on the outside. He's going to get the cutback. This is going to be, unless the Clio can get parked on the apex. He can't this time. This is going to be so close up to the line.
And we are going to see Marc Carol on first, Kowalski on second, Zenkov on third, Silvestre on fourth, McAllister on fifth for the second race. And don't leave us, because now comes the 25-minute race. Those here were packed with people trying to get the better position within 5 laps. Now the drivers are gonna be driving hopefully more quietly, because they have to keep their cars alive for 25 minutes, and that's not easy on Norisring.
No, when you bear in mind that both hairpins have the opportunity to end your race, even the easier of the corners with the 90-degree right and left have the
don't forget the Sheila S, where there's that wall that can really wreck your car.
That's it. On the exit as well, there is solid concrete there. There is no give, and it is going to be your car that gives before that wall.
As many a DTM racer and other racers have seen in real life before.
It's on par with McPhillamy Park at Bathurst, where it's the slightest of errors, and you can make the mistake several seconds before you've even come to the corner. Yeah. It can be a wrong setup. It can be going too wide. Going too wide, it can be a mistake. But yeah, interesting race. A lot of aggression coming out in these sprint races. A lot more than I was expecting to see.
Yeah, on the other hand, Norisring is just made for that, for getting into it, and it's almost every, like you were saying before we started the broadcast, that Norisring, for your liking, has too many straights, which I understand, but on the other hand, it has straights, but that leads to fast racing that then has to be carefully measured when you go into the curves, and the curves that Norisring has are really beasts.
Yes, and again, it comes back to the thing of the simpler the track, the better the racing. When it's all about setting up the exit of the previous corner, or your speed onto the straight is the only thing that matters, is your exit from the previous corner. You can make a lot of sacrifices, and you can approach corners in a lot of different ways, as long as you get that speed out of the corner, and you can be quick in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, but here every exit is important. Every point of the track is important. The only thing where you can play a little bit is the entry to the Sheila S, the first curve of that double curved part, but that's about all.
Yeah. And
interestingly, yeah, go ahead.
No, go on.
Interestingly enough, only one car doing the warm-up. I suppose the others are either drinking something or getting some of the of what they've drunk out of them before the 25-minute race. I know I would.
Yeah, it's a lot to go through, especially if you have the especially if you have a rig that doesn't sit you in a conventionally comfortable place to put pressure on your bladder and things like that. So it's all that's a lot of things go into a good sim rig and a good sim racing setup. It's all about making sure that you've got everything sorted the way you like it, and I have no doubt that Serta and I both have entirely different setups based on our comfort.
Absolutely. By the way, and just while we're waiting for the last race of today to start, next week we are at Poznan, which is a track I think I've never driven in my life, so maybe I'll do a couple of laps between now and next Monday. And on Sunday we are with the Stock Car 2023 Championship at let me see, Richmond Raceway, 150 miles on NASCAR. Next week though, next Monday, we are at Poznan with the Clio Cup. The only thing that I know about Poznan is that it's a Polish track, as far as I know.
I was gonna say, I will bow to any wisdom that you have, because yeah, Poznan I knew as a city. I wasn't aware that Poznan was a
racetrack.
Let's do some research, shall we?
By which you mean you're checking Wikipedia?
I am. Yeah. Nope.
Yep,
absolutely. Racing circuits. Racingcircuits.info is a fantastic website. If you want
that one too.
If you want to search up your history, there's also an onboard lap. Hello. It is a dedicated road course with. It feels like Watkins Glen. I'm not gonna lie. Very flat turns, no real camber to speak of. So the tripoding that we've seen a reduction in this week is going to be absolutely on overdrive next week. I have no doubt whatsoever. Good mix of corners. Really nice road layout as well.
We are, by the way, on board. Mark Carol is doing some, checking the better lines on the warm-up.
And this is the time to do it.
Yep.
Make sure that there isn't anything more that you can do to extract some more pace from the car.
Interestingly enough, there are many racing lines you can and should take at Norisring.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, again, one of the good parts of this track, is that there's so many ways to be fast.
Always vibrant racing.
Poznan is no longer a circuit.
So you can only race it on sim racing. The joys of sim racing.
Brought to you by Vrom and ASRC in this case. ASRC being a fantastic contributor to sim racing mods for goodness knows how many years at this point, but also to fantastic racing as well.
Yeah, they drive their own mods, so to speak.
Yeah, I still need to have words with them to see if we can get them to remake the Palatov mod.
Oh yeah.
Fear is what I would feel.
That Palatov is great.
I would have to abandon you to drive it though. Absolutely wonderful car, that. If you have R-Factor 2 and you haven't driven the Palatov D4 mod, it's not the best mod, but my goodness, it is terrifying. It is terrifying and wonderful.
Wait, I'm checking to find the video that I made about that mod. Putting it into the chat here.
Mwah.
Because it's really it's a great car to drive. It's lots of fun.
Did you drive you drove the full four-wheel drive one as well?
I don't remember. It's been a while since I made that.
You did it at in Dubai as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's even more scary.
Yeah, that track is great. That track, especially that car, that mod is really fantastic.
Yeah,
I can recommend it to anyone. And when you started talking about that mod, I could only concur. It's a great car.
Yeah, it's such a silly thing, and just shows what men in sheds can achieve.
Whoops! Why is somebody driving already?
I believe that may be a mistake. Who is it that's driven off though?
Zenkov, who's now going back into pits. Zenkov, one of the organizers for the ASRC. He either tested something or we're going back into warm-up? Oh, there seems to have been some issues there.
Server issues. There we go.
R-Factor 2, how much we hate you in such situations.
Marty, we totally agree with you. Really hope that it gets bought, that R-Factor 2 and Studio 397 gets bought out and it gets the attention and love it deserves. First things first, give us a decent server interface, please.
I mean, you can go to justrace.net and set up your server with that, because that helps a lot. The GUI that these guys have done. But yeah, absolutely, cool. I agree.
Yeah, it's not. That's another thing I needed to look into. Did Just Race have daily races on?
Yes. I don't know if they have them on R-Factor 2, but they have daily races, at least in Automobilista or Automobilista 2.
Well, now I need to start up Automobilista 2. With their recent updates as well.
You may want to wait a couple of days, because I hear the 1.5 is incoming with some big changes in the physics once again.
Ooh. Oh, I wonder what they're going to do there then.
Tires. A lot of stuff they've finalized in the tires. After they found that bug in the Madness engine that blocked some of the extremely difficult and complex calculations, they've continued working on that. It's gonna be a lot of tire stuff.
Oh wow, okay. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. More goodies. Absolutely. Yeah. More goodies for us to play with.
Automobilista 2, and who knows what's going to happen with a straight foreign Reza, Automobilista 3, or whatever you want to call it.
The potential in that collaboration is undeniable. Absolutely undeniable.
GTR 15 or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's something that we're going to be discussing in our podcast. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday, our podcast, every first Thursday of the month, kinda give us a little bit of time to record. So I'm pretty sure that that's gonna be something for us to talk about.
Yeah, and it's going to be, well, it's going to be a very much a passion conversation for at least Cody and me, if not for Serta as well. Because as much as people have opinions about Ian Bell, his vision and the people that he has brought together in the past certainly speaks volumes of his ability. Maybe not as a sim racing developer, but as a man to get the right people for the job. He seems to be pretty much at the top of the list.
And I would say if Renato, now we go for the very strange. Like we are on the warm-up lap.
Yep.
But the race information is nothing, like not first of 5 or something like that. So
no, because it's a time certain race. It won't start until they're on the grid.
I think I know why they had to reset because the information about the race that R Factor 2 was given was 25 laps.
There we go.
And they don't want 25 laps, they want 25 minutes. It's gonna be like kind of 25 laps because normally they need a minute to do a lap here. But still, the server has to be set up to 25 minutes. That may have been the issue.
The thing is as well is that there is strategy in a time certain race because you don't know how many laps you're going to be doing, and if it could be 25 laps, it could be 24, depends what the pace of the race is. And I say the pace of the race because the race itself is kind of an animal in and of itself. It has a personality, and we've seen 2 very different races this evening already. And we line up tonight now for a 3rd, which we will soon find out what kind of beast we have. Interesting switching of places going on further down the field. There we go.
And green, green, green. Oh, Zenkov getting a penalty, I suppose, for false start. Yes.
Was that Silvestre bogging down off the start as well? Silvestre's fallen right down the order already. Everybody else, Carroll fighting over 4th and 5th. They come 5 wide into the hairpin. That's never going to work, but somehow it does. It's only the purple and green car of... who was that got tagged? I think that's about 7th position. It's Silvestre again, if I'm not mistaken.
Interestingly enough, we don't see the argy-bargy that we saw in the fast races. Oh, Zenkov trying to get it to a good position. He has to serve the drive-through penalty for false start. So maybe he's trying to put himself into a good position just before serving that one.
Depending on how it goes, you kind of want to hold out, especially at this early point in the race when it's 25. You kind of want to hold out as long as you possibly can. The more the field spreads out, the less positions you're going to lose. Relatively speaking, of course. I don't think there's going to be a lot of spread with these cars. I think there is a bit of a gap between 8th and 9th, but that's about all the gaps there are on this track so far. Otherwise, they are nose to tail. So it will be Zenkov to the back of the field, regardless of how hot he comes into the pits.
Silvestre now getting the better of Zenkov.
I think Zenkov is serving his penalty. He's held out as long as he could, which is fair play to him. But it's going to be a comeback fight for him. Only needs to gain a couple of positions to get into the points.
And
Look up the inside.
getting the better of the... I thought Mrak was getting the better, but no, Abitanda went into the inside. Mrak trying to get into the inside of the Shola S, but no, that's not a place you want to try to overtake. I've seen DTM drivers trying to do that and not ending well.
And is that... Give me a second. Now you've piqued my interest. Is that his teammate behind? Is that what I'm seeing here?
In Gunter? I would
Yes.
have to look it up.
Yeah. So Ganta and Mrak are the slowracing.com team. And so the 89 car has nothing to worry about from behind for the...
As long as Gunter stays at the back, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But
let's
if
not
it's
forget that Marc Carol is directly behind Gunter, so... Oh,
absolutely.
Did we have an issue? Yes. The poutre. Oh, he was turned around.
Oh, it's so easy to
Zenkov.
do at the hairpin.
Yeah. Zenkov driving for his life. Still has 20 minutes, so let's see. Maybe he can rejoin the race for positions. Who knows what happens in 20 minutes. For now, Abizanda, Mrak, Gunter, Karol are the first 4 positions, but they are so near to each other that anything can happen. Especially because we're nearing, once again, the first hairpin, and that one's difficult.
McAllister into the pits, as is Higgins as well.
Oh, maybe for repairs?
This is for pits, yep, so this is for repairs. McAllister is in, as Higgins also has not made it as far as his pit box yet. There we go. It's going to be a tough exit for McAllister. But yep, seemingly with some damage. Gantar with the fastest sector, fastest lap of the race so far, so clearly some pace in that Clio Cup car, but holding the fort as they come across the line. 20 minutes remaining in this session. Gantar absolutely playing the team game while the 2 ahead fight for position.
Yeah.
Weirdly, Carroll playing an oddly passive role in this race as well. I dare say that he's trying to look after his tyres to have better pace later on in the race. Watch for that yellow car to start making some waves later on in this 20 minutes the remaining session.
Let's not forget, for now, he's still the first in the championship after 2 races. Or, no, after 6 races. After 2 sessions.
The other thing as well is he did just take a win home from the sprint race as well.
Yeah.
Oh. Mrak on the outside of Abazanda. It's going to be very difficult into the hairpin there, but maybe he's got enough of an overlap there. Can he pressure Abazanda into a mistake? It's the old over-under.
Yeah, he seems to be...
It's not worked yet. They're side by side coming up towards...
Going into the Shola S.
Yes, and they're going to make it side by side again.
Oh, he's on the inside, and that's going to be a position win. Yes, he's on the inside for the exit of the Shola S, and that's always a good place.
Mrak making it look easy on the exit to stay away from the wall, but now it's Gander's turn. Abzander coming back up the inside, but the cutback could be powerful. This is the longest straight that they're going to be going down. Or just gave up on that position. I don't know if Mrak gave up on that position or if it was taken away from him. But now the team car coming up into the fight. Could this be a push to pass for the duo on the outside of turn 1? It's a big
getting the better
cutback
exit
this time. Is a big cutback this time. Ganter coming into play for the lead of the race here.
I think that's what Ganter was making. He was putting himself into a position to be dangerous to Abizanda, therefore helping Mrak. He's gonna go on the inside, I'm pretty sure. The next hairpin, but no.
No, big dive up the inside from Abizanda again, but it doesn't work.
Well, Mrak closed the door.
Mrak has the pace now to actually hold off the intentions of Abizanda there. I'll settle on a pronunciation of his name in a minute. In the MC Motorsport car. But now up the outside. It's a repeat.
Closes the door.
Oh, good grief.
This is something that you see often at the Norisring. The car on the inside going wide and not allowing the car behind to get in. That, on the other hand, allows Carol to go very near to all these fighting drivers.
Yep. All this fighting playing into the hands of Carol, who's been sitting back, minding his own business, keeping on the rubbered line, kept his powder very, very dry, and suddenly the 3 cars at the head of the field are reversing into him up in the aero now as they come across the line. Which lap is this? Come on, dashboard. Tell me. Nope, 15 minutes remaining. That's all it is.
In one of the many dashboards that we have, it should be saying ninth lap.
That sounds about right. Ah, that's why. So, Carol coming back into play now. I wonder if Ganter's now backing off ever so slightly. No, there's no backing off there, is there?
Not in Norisring. Hero on Twitch saying they are punishing the tires with that fight. Absolutely.
Yep.
So these 3 at front, and I think that's one of the reasons why Carol is now... He's not getting into the fight. He's keeping with them, he's keeping pace, but he's not getting into the fight because, of course, the tires still have to last a quarter of an hour.
Yeah, we're not even halfway through this race yet. Or we are... Yeah, we're not even halfway through this race yet. There's still time for all of this to go wrong, and with 57-second laps, which is what they're doing at the moment, my goodness, it only takes 1 turn of the wheel to get it all very wrong at any number of these corners where the walls are so close.
We're not forgetting the fight at the front, but we're showing you Silvestre and Poletti. At the back, the positions have now spread out much more.
Higgins in the pits again. I wonder if there's a fuel issue or something. Big look to the outside and cut back to the inside for Ganter. He might have the overspeed, but Alexander was very good. He was very sly in how he pulled the car back to the middle of the road outside of the hairpin. Really mature driving there from Abizanda.
Incredibly fun driving today.
Weird to see Carol backing off as well. I don't know if it's...
I think it's strategy. I would very much remember this. This guy has experience on sim racing and on real life racing, and he knows that the way that the first three are pushing and fighting and sliding, they are gonna be starting to have problems. I would say around 5 minutes before the end of the race.
Speaking of having problems,
yes.
Yep. Gunter looking to the outside, brakes way too late, but around the outside has potential here. That's going to kill his outside right tyre.
Marty saying, kinda sad no racing at Detroit Belle Isle this year. Not this year and not ever again. Detroit Belle Isle is history. The city of Detroit has decided to give another place for racing and not Belle Isle anymore. Only races on Belle Isle you'll ever going to see in the future are gonna be done on sims.
If I remember correctly, though, the reason why they've moved it is because of the amount of space that the new circuit has to offer, and it's a much more central location, whereas Belle Isle was out of the way. I'm more than happy to be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that was the reason for the move. And centralizing it, I do believe they cross a couple of the bridges as well across the Detroit River. So it's an interesting move. I will wait and see how it ends up playing out. But yeah, it's sad that we're not going to have Belle Isle on the IMSA calendar anymore. But I think we'll. There are larger losses, I think is the way to put it.
Yeah, on the other hand, I always liked Belle Isle. It's a great track. It's a great track to drive and a great track to watch races, especially IndyCar. So
yeah,
well,
yeah, absolutely. And interestingly, Gantar's now falling away, trying to get the tyres back into an operating window after that incredible burn on the outside right tyre. There we go. Makes it into the apex this time of asking. Thank you very much. But it's all very comfortable and settled here at the moment.
For now, we are 10 minutes before the end of the race. I'd say the next 5 minutes are gonna be calm, and then comes...
Oof. You say that. Paletti side by side for fifth and sixth. Up the inside goes Paletti on Silvestre. And a fairly cut and dry. I wonder if there's a cutback coming, perhaps, for Silvestre there, or that is a pure pace difference. Nope. Silvestre not had enough. He's going to look to the outside. We've seen this move done a few times at this point.
The outside is not good at this hairpin.
But he had more of an overlap, and it's a big kick of oversteer.
Silvestre had problems in the braking, but not enough problems to... Poletti had problems in the braking, but not enough to give Silvestre the position.
Yeah, and I think that's very much the issue here, is that because there's so many ways to make the track work, even if you get it wrong, the track's going to save you sometimes. Oh, that's all very, very busy over second place as well. Yep. My goodness.
Gunter
and now
trying to get Carroll getting into the fray now.
I think Carroll's got it already. I dare say there is an overspeed there for sure. Yeah. He's going to have to pull out. They're going to be 3 wide across the road into the hairpin. Oh my goodness. And Carroll's already got it done. Carroll has already got it done on Gunter, and he's already going for
Silvestre on the inside. Absolutely, Avizander.
But here we go. This is where I think Carroll may have given up on the win.
Or to the contrary, he's saying, "Oh, number one is getting too far away. I don't want to lose that position."
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that anymore. That might well be what has sprung the gap. Look how he's able to hold the apex so much better.
Like, you couldn't put a sheet of paper between his car and the apex.
And that's what looking after your tyres does. Oh my goodness, as Mark Carroll's got to the inside, Alexander didn't even bother to defend that one. I'm shocked. And Ganter's going to get past as well.
Exactly. Nope, he's not yet. But it looked very much looked like it.
Is Alexander running out of
tires?
Rubber here? It's possible there's a lot of drive going through there, and if he has been pushing to try and keep that position,
and I mean,
it wouldn't surprise me.
You say about the straights, but because of the straights and the speed that you get on the straights, the curves are very punishing to the tires at Norisring.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you won't want to run too much camber here either, because what you want is the car to be settled and planted so that you can get that traction, as Carroll is doing now, relying on getting as much rubber on the ground as you physically can to get the traction out of the corners. But again, you're putting wear across the entire tyre then. You're not just warming up the inside edge, it's the whole tyre that's getting worn there.
It's wonderful to see his racing lines, by the way.
Absolutely.
We would very much have loved to have an interview with him, but he said that his English is not up to pace. He, in spite of the name, being a Spanish driver.
It's unfortunate, but again, he does his talking on the track, I think it's fair to say.
Absolutely.
Oof.
Silvestre trying to get on the inside of Poletti, but not making it.
Other way around, Silvestre on the defensive gets tapped by Poletti.
Ouch.
Coming down to 5 minutes to go. And Poletti looking up the inside again as they come into the chicane at 5 and 6.
We're getting into sprint racing level.
But now it's about who has kept their tyres in shape the best.
Deploy on pit? That's a strange moment to do that, but maybe for repairs. Or he miscalculated fuel.
It could be fuel as well. Yep, it's fuel. No? Yeah, that's fuel. Definitely not damage. He was stationary for a grand total of about 10 seconds. So he very much misjudged the amount of fuel that he needed, though. However, not yet last.
Oh. By the way, Zenkov, who was last, is now already on 13th. Hey.
And in the points. So, critically important moves there.
And Poletti and Silvestre are still at it.
Oh my goodness. Poletti must be sick of looking at the back of that Clio by now. Come on, just let me pass. Let me pass. I'm sick of looking at the back of you. Nope. Oh, big switch to the inside.
Yeah, trying to find the better position, but...
It's a big braking maneuver. It's a big braking maneuver.
No, that was not the way to do it. Would say the race control is going to be looking at that one after the race and maybe giving some penalty, because That was not the way to do it.
No, it was about that. It was a desperation move, and I totally understand it. But yeah, as you say, it's not. That's not what we're looking for here. And I don't know how it would have worked if he had given the place back. That's my only real question.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Mark Carroll. I know. He's just overtaking a lapped car.
Lapped car, yep. But
on the other hand, Gunter is looking at the outside.
Again, becomes... Oh, you see, he needs to... It's really difficult. It's Abizander is driving an incredible race here.
Yeah.
To keep Gantar behind, because there's clearly much more pace in that 4th place 11 car than
McAllister had to DNF.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But Gantar is going to need to do some weaving like we saw from Paletti just now to try and get to the inside. He needs to be on the inside of the hairpin. Once he's got to the inside of the hairpin, he'll be fine. But he needs to get the overspeed as he has again, but goes to the outside again. It's not going to work. He's done that so many times. Abizander knows the tricks that he's playing. Oh, but he did slow down a little bit more this time.
Yeah,
maybe
still.
a bit more traction.
Nope.
Nope. He needs to get to the inside. He needs to get to the inside, haul the anchors out, and get that car stopped. Perhaps even running wide, a little wide, to make it happen. As long as it's not a punt into the side of Abizander, that's the main thing. Looking again,
oh, it loses control of
look.
the car. He started sliding.
Ah, right. So that's the better way to do it. Is you lose control, you give the place back, you make sure that it's not done wrong. I think this might well be the last lap of the race now.
Yes, because we only have 35 seconds to go.
When did Gasper start the final lap? He can cruise to the end of... Oh, he's not, though. That car is not looking happy at the moment. Where is his most recent lap times? His last lap was 1:4.62, and Mark Carroll is pushing with the tyres. It doesn't matter, though.
Yeah, nope. The seconds are gonna run out. This is definitely the last lap of the race, and we're gonna see Mrak coming first. Clearly.
25 points for Gasper Mrak is going to do his championship hopes a world of good. Carroll,
although
across
second
the line,
for Mark Carroll is also very good.
Oh, absolutely. Carroll, I'm sure, is now primary focus is consistent finishes and make sure he's safeguarding that points lead that he has at the moment.
So after
Carlos
25, go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
After 25 minutes, we have Mrak on first, Carroll on second, Abizander third, Gunter fourth, and Silvestre fifth. Next week, we are going to be at Poznan, and don't forget, on Sunday, we're going to be on Richmond. You wanted to say?
I was going to run down the rest of the field. Nicholas Paletti with a really hard fought for 6th position. Jacob Kowalski came home in 7th. Pablo Lopez Garcia in 8th. 9th will be Orchit Mishra, another driver who has made a long drive up the field. Angel Sancho had so many issues earlier in the evening, but comes back to 10th in the feature race. Mick Leportre in 11th. Neven Adriasevic in 12th. 13th will be Zenkov. 14th will be Biraud Nick Stefenko, who we saw having issues at the exit of the chicane, will come home in 15th. Mondeploy in 16th. McAllister and Higgins 17th and 18th having to retire, unfortunately. But yes, just wanted to get everybody's name on the stream in the very least.
This has been once again an incredible 3 races of the Russell Cup. We hope you join us next week again, Sunday and Monday, for our races of the ASRC. And until then, we wish you safe fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium. Bye!
Goodbye.